Welcome to Dad Talk Today. The podcast for dads facing some of the toughest moments of their lives. We are here to walk with men through divorce, keep them connected to their kids, help them understand their rights, and work for change in family law courts. Moms, you are always welcome too. We are all about advocating for shared parenting and doing what is best for our kids. Here is your host, Eric Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Dad Talk Today. This is Eric Carroll and I am sitting here with Quincy McKnight. Quincy, what's going on, my man?
Pleasure.
Hey man, nice to meet you. Quincy, you are running where now?
In the 5th District Congressional seat, Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee. Good old
Country
Nashville.
Music USA.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Quincy, you was telling us you got a little bit of a different story than some of the people we talked to. I know you're definitely familiar with the fatherless issue, but let's hear a little bit about your childhood.
Sure thing. I was a foster kid, raised in the system for 11 and a half years. And so just to give you guys a brief, quick story, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
Part of why I'm running is the purpose of how this leads into everything, okay? So my mother was on the way to the abortion clinic to abort me back in '77 from an interracial relationship. And she was married, and unfortunately, it wasn't her husband's. And so she was afraid to go home, tell the husband, hey, this is what has happened. So anyway, she ended up coming out of a dry cleaners one day, and then there was a older black gentleman who approached her and said, I don't know why you're crying, but do you mind if I pray with you?
Wow.
And so what happens is he prayed with her, and she went on her way, got in the car, stayed in the car crying forever, and he went on his way. Well, she went on hat, gave birth to me, and after that, she gave birth to me. The family forced her to give me up for adoption into the system. Family is half Irish, half Italian, so you can imagine what that was like, and knowing that she just had a relationship with a black man back in 1976. So that was a little rough in the South, like that. So after that, I got adopted at 11 and a half years old by older black family, conservative, very traditional family. Four girls, and I was the only boy. So my first Christmas, they asked me, what did you want for Christmas? I didn't really know what to say because I wasn't used to having Christmases, being part of the system. So I told them, I said, well, just let me meet my mother. I wanted to meet my mother, so he found her. And so Christmas morning, she was there along with my grandmother. And so we were sitting on the couch just like how we are right now. And I was looking at my mom up and down. She was looking at me. We were smiling, grinning ear to ear because that was our first time seeing one another. And so after that, she literally, my adoptive dad comes in, and he's a Korean war veteran. So he was shot in the back of the neck, so he couldn't do too much. But he came in on his walker, sat in his chair, and he looked over at my mom and started crying and everything because he told her, you're the same woman I prayed for at the dry cleaners, 1976.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So he ended up adopting the same kid that he prayed for to keep her from going to the abortion clinic.
That's powerful. That's a testimony.
Yeah. So now, fast forwarding to today, that's my driving force. That's my purpose. So that's why it's important. When I saw this Dad Talk Today, this was very important. This was hit home to me because I know what it's like to be fatherless. I know what it's like, and I'm a father now to some beautiful children. So there's not a waking moment that I don't want to be there. So
How did that influence your parenting, knowing what happened to you? Was there any of that completely just made you go in a different direction later on? How did that influence you as a dad?
Well, it provided me, it reminded me to give them the foundational principles.
There you go.
That's what it did for me. because I didn't know any other way but to be that way. So, and that's just showing them what the traditional family looks like and what it's supposed to be like, how a father is supposed to love and lead and guide and correct at the same time. So,
now, did you ever get to meet your biological father?
I did. He passed away. They found him dead. He was a veteran. Found him dead under a bridge in Atlanta. So, unfortunately. So, but yes, I did. I never did get to meet him. But I've had a lot of great men to step in these places over the years after I got adopted, because again, my adopted father, mind you, he was crippled, you know, and got shot, so he couldn't go out in the backyard, throw football with me, shoot basketball with me, and so he put me in front of the right people with the right resources to give me what I needed. So I was a high school standout, college standout in basketball, which led up to where I'm a very successful business owner now, and I give all praises to God for that, because without that traditional upbringing, without him guiding me, even though he couldn't do a lot of physical activity with me, he taught me a lot of common sense values. And he showed me how to treat his wife. And he showed me how to love. So, and that's where I get a lot of my drive from.
You know, hearing you talk, especially back in 1976, 1977, there was these cultural norms where here this white woman had an affair with a black man and a black baby was born. So, you know, society really said, look, this can't happen.
Right.
And we look at the way that society, you know, molds families, the way decisions are made, and legislation as well.
Yes.
You know, we have a lot of anti-family legislation. You look back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of this legislation, you know, financially incentivize moms to say, you know, get rid of that. We'll give you money if you have dad on the picture.
Yeah.
You know, we really need to change these policies because they're anti-family.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're looking to do in Nashville is one of the things I want to do is one of the first bills I want to sponsor is actually a day at the Capitol for all foster kids and adopted kids to be able to come, and we have that, declare that as the official fostering kid day. And let them actually see what success looks like, and that's why I'm pro-life, because you don't know what that purpose of that child may be. I don't care what the situation is. You don't know. Only God knows.
Man, this is one of the most powerful stories I've ever heard. I'm just, you know, sinking this in. You know, how does it make you feel knowing that there's these fathers that are fighting tooth and nail to be inside of their children's lives, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it happens to moms too.
Yeah.
It's a very unequal battle. It's about 85% dads.
Yeah.
But how does that make you feel knowing, you know, what you went through, that these guys are fighting and not being gave the chance?
You know, it saddens me to hear that and to see and witness men out here that want to be active dads, but for some form or reason why they couldn't be. That's going back to our prison reform system. That's another topic of conversation.
Absolutely.
But we have to set things in place now, and that's why I say part of what President Trump did, and this is what I really absolutely loved, his first step back. His first step that allowed men, especially men of color, to get back into the system and get a second chance to do the right thing. And that's what I've loved about that. And that was one of the things that the main media didn't want to cover, to show he was releasing and getting the opportunities for men of color to be an active dad again.
Right.
You know, there's really not much to say more about that, because there was actionable items there.
You know, Quincy, we've got a lot of people around the country that's been trying to get some shared parenting legislation passed, which says it's called a rebuttable presumption. If mom and dad are both fit, willing, and able, that they would be set equal upon divorce. We hope divorce doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But if it does, that they would get equal access, 50-50, do what's in the best interest of the child. If there was some legislation that came in there into Tennessee like that, and you get into office, would you support it?
Yeah, as long as equal. That's
equal.
Yeah, it has to be equal, and that's one of the things I'm actually wanting to push, is the equality when it comes to, because sometimes men get the bad end of the stick.
Oh yeah.
I know firsthand that they get the bad end of the stick, and so and so one of the things I want to start looking at wholeheartedly is the fact of the system of how, between the child support pieces, men being shunned out of the life of women on their child, or their children rather, because some judge sees it a certain way, and we've got to have better legislation against all that.
Absolutely, guys. Please, if you're in the Tennessee area, we need him in office.
Yeah,
Quincy,
we're gonna do it.
Tell them where they can keep up with you.
You can keep up with me, McKnightforcongress.com. And you can look me up on social media as well, Quincy J. McKnight. And so I do everything led by the heart. So what you see is what you get.
Quincy, if there's any parents, mom or dad, in the Nashville, Tennessee area that are struggling with family court, not being able to see their children, and sometimes they get suicidal. There's so many different things. They feel like they've done everything that they can do, and they're not being given a chance. What could you leave them with?
Don't give up. Don't give up at all. Giving up is what, and I'm not going to go spiritual, but I will. Giving up is what Satan wants you to do. You stay active, stay consistent, get around people that can help you get your resources together so you can be that active mother, that active father, or find that child.
There you go.
That's what I say.
My man, so nice to meet you, my man.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, everybody, stick around. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are fighting for the rights of parents worldwide. If you want to help support our podcast and for us to continue this mission, please join us at patreon.com/DadTalkToday. You will find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, CloutHub, Parler, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, the podcast app, Google, Apple Podcasts. We're a little bit of everywhere. And guys, every time you like and subscribe, you help us continue this mission. Thank you, and we will see you next time.